All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Where My Turds At Showdown Breakdown Monday Night Football episode, where we've got Seattle traveling out to Washington to take on the WFT Washington football team. This is pretty much a pick'em game here. At this point, I think the Seahawks are favored just so slightly. All right, so the line has been moving, and now the Seahawks are favored by 2 in this game. So really close spread, road favorite Seahawks. Looks like the money is flowing on the Seahawks, public, private. I don't know. But this was definitely a pick-em really, really recently. So, that's the setup for this game. And just some overview, a little bit of broad overview on this one. There's a lot of turds everywhere. There's some, the Washington football team is like turd city, especially at wide receiver outside of Terry McLaurin. And then on Seattle, we've also got a lot of turds. Like there's a lot of cheapies, and then a lot of focused offense. We've also got a game that can go a lot of different ways. Russ Wilson has been playing like shit lately. Like he has clearly been terrible since he came back from the injury. I don't believe he's thrown for a touchdown since he's got back from the injury. Let's take a look. And no touchdowns. So 2 weeks, terrible scores, no touchdowns for Russ Wilson. And it wasn't like he was up against the Green Bay game, fine, but then the Arizona game. So the real question this week comes down to why was he so terrible? Is he still injured? Is the finger still causing problems for him? Or was it just a little bit of rust, or was it random noise? There's no way of knowing for sure as of yet, but I don't think there's any doubt that this guy has not looked great. Diesel, we don't even have to worry about fading Russ at captain, because if you watch the show every week, we don't play quarterbacks at captain on DraftKings. It's not something that I do, so no need to fade him. I am playing him anyway. I a little bit, a couple shares, but for the most part, I haven't found that quarterback is what I want to play at captain. Family Man, enjoying the show. We appreciate you, Family Man. And don't forget that the Black Friday promotion that we're doing at DFS Army ends today. It's Cyber Monday. If you have any money left from all your Black Friday, Cyber Monday, now's the time to get signed up at DFS Army as a VIP using promo code Black Friday. It's 50% off your first month's dues and then 10% off to eternity. Our prices never change when you're signed up. So right now it's $69.99 for VIP, covers all sports. You cut it in half. It's $35 for the first month, and then about $62 when you get the 10% off each additional month. That's about half the price of our competition. Just to be clear, other sites that have an optimizer and projections and really don't do what we do, they charge about double what we do. So anyway, good deal. That was like a good deal on Black Friday. So again, breaking down this game, what's the deal with Russ? Is he damaged? Is he mentally fucked? Or is his hand still screwed up, but he's just playing because he wanted to come back? I don't know. So we're going to have to build for all these eventualities. It's just what we got to do. So taking a look at this game, let's start on the Washington side. Taylor Heineke, couple bounce back games, right? Taylor Heineke. Oh, yeah. We have an NFL only subscription for half the price. You can't do NFL only. Got to get all the sports. So Malcolm, about the turds, we're going to get to the turds here. A lot of turds on the Washington football team playing wide receiver. We're going to talk about all of them. But it starts with Taylor Heineke, and he's had a little bit of a couple of better games, 2 for 3 touchdowns, but the yardage still not really there for him, and the accuracy not really there. He had a nice game against Carolina, a little surprising, but before that, a run of terribleness. And Chris saying don't bet against Russ. So, Russ at home is way better than Russ on the road, but I don't know. I do have to bet this game, so we got to pull the trigger on something later here. I'm leaning Russ, but I'm not sure yet. So it's not official. Anyway. All right. So Heineke, though, playing a little bit better, and you couldn't ask for a better matchup for Heineke because Seattle pass defense ranked 25th overall in DVOA and 31st in yards allowed per pass. What that means is teams are smoking Seattle via the pass. The Seattle run defense is a less good, 9th overall, but still, well, I'm sorry, a less bad 9th overall. So Seattle pretty good against the run, pretty bad against the pass. Flip side, a similar setup for Washington. They're 11th against the run, which isn't like crazy good, but it's decent. And they're 30th versus the pass. So Washington football team, the worst team in the league against the pass. What does that mean? The matchup bodes well for the passing games. But we're going to get to these turds, but just the overview of this game, if we just look at the matchups, is they bode very well for both teams' passing game. So who are they going to throw to? Let's start with Washington and the running back situation. And actually, there is a little turdly player of note that's been mixing in. Don't know why. Don't know what the deal is with that guy. But Antonio Gibson is the primary running back, right? He gets most of the runs. 50% snap count this week, lower than usual, with 47% of the actual carries. And that includes Taylor Heineke's runs. So he's really getting, of the running back carries, more like 60, 70% of them, but not throwing to Antonio Gibson a whole lot this season. Now, I like the play of Antonio Gibson today. He could definitely score a touchdown, but it's important to note that like this matchup doesn't particularly favor him, right? But it's fine. He's a starting running back. He's a little priced up for a guy that doesn't really get thrown to a whole lot. Now, the guy sneaking up on him is Jared Patterson. I don't really know what the deal is with Jared Patterson, but you could see here that he got 20% of the carries and he got 20% of the snaps last week, up from a much lower amount. So his snap count has been increasing each week, and he got a bunch of carries. He's kind of coming in spelling Antonio Gibson. I don't know what the deal is with him, why they're doing that, but here we go. Antonio Gibson, clearly not going to be the Christian McCaffrey clone that we were promised. Working in as well is J.D. McKissic, who gets a lot of snaps and tends to get a lot of targets most games. Sometimes those numbers spike when his team is playing from behind. Or when his team is up against a really good run defense. I don't know that that's the case here. So McKissic is going to be a very speculative play, but he can pop off at any time. And I probably like him even better than Gibson head to head, because Gibson is yardage and touchdowns 2-down grinder. So he can get there, but he needs to get there with touchdowns or crossing 100 yards to really be in the nuts. Whereas McKissic, 4 receptions, 55 yards, he's already done better than, most Antonio Gibson outcomes. So keep those two things in mind. And of course, Jared Patterson, we're going to check what the salary is on him, but he's got some turdly minimal appeal. But, just getting a few carries in this offense, that's not going to do it for me. All right, so at wide receiver, it gets crazy for Washington. Absolutely bananas. And the way the wide receiver position works for them, we've got Terry McLaurin as the clear-cut alpha. And interestingly, our clear beta is now DeAndre Carter, who has scored a touchdown multiple weeks in a row and is getting a decent 15% target share. So DeAndre Carter is now officially the WR2, in my opinion, for Washington. There you go. Patterson, 1K. Even at 1K, by the way, that's a 3 to 4% turd. Like, he might get a touchdown. Something crazy can happen. But I don't want the grinder backup guy. I don't want too much of that. It might take an Antonio Gibson injury for Patterson with no passing game work to really do enough to matter. So there are other turds that we're going to talk about. But again, Terry McLaurin, great play, alpha wide receiver, and maybe my favorite overall, one of my favorite overall captain plays on the slate on DraftKings, easily. So this week, I believe we're going to get Curtis Samuel back, probably on a limited snap count. Do with that what you will. Salary will be important. We got DeAndre Carter as the alpha, as the beta wide receiver. He's going to be there and there a lot. And then you have this mix, this turd mix. Mix it up. Mix up the turds, making a little turd soup. Adam Humphries, 48% snaps. Cam Sims, 16%. De'Ami Brown. Dax Milne. Dax fucking Milne. 17. So this whole turd group, you want to talk about turds? Got a bunch of them here to pick from. And one of our best turds isn't even showing on the thing here. So we'll get to that in a minute for the Seattle side. But, any one of Sims, De'Ami Brown, or Dax Milne can be mixed in and could get a reception or two. Anything can happen. But DeAndre Carter is probably the best of that group by far. And then Adam Humphries, like a 2-3 targets per game guy. Hasn't scored a touchdown yet. So unfortunately, you're going to have to just mix them up. There's no way of knowing who's the best of that group. All right, let's flip over to the Seattle side. And again, Russell Wilson, kind of weird right now. Don't know if he's still feeling the effects of the finger injury or not. It's hard to know. There's no way. Teams aren't telling us. They're not sharing the information. The eye test says there's something a little off about Russ. But as far as will that change from last week to this week? I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that they only have 2 running backs really on the roster for Seattle, and that's Alex Collins and DJ Dallas. Travis Homer is out, which makes me love DJ Dallas a little bit. Rashad Penny is out. And DJ Dallas, man, DJ Dallas has won us a showdown earlier this season in kind of a similar situation. And I want to reflect that Alex Collins is an injury-prone player, which means Collins could get dinged up at any time. He could get dinged up at any time, guys. Be careful with Collins. Collins is the 2-down grinder. He doesn't get a lot of targets. DJ Dallas is 3rd down, all of that. I got to check the salary on Dallas. I should do this before, but I'm really looking at players. So he's $5,200. So they did price him up appropriately, unfortunately. It's unfortunate. But DJ Dallas will be involved in this game. He's the pass catching back, and he will get work. $5,200 is an unfortunately high salary. If this was a sub 3K salary, it would borderline be an all-in spot for us. Now he's just a good play. All right, at wide receiver, obviously DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are both alphas. We all already know the pattern with Seattle. It's less common that both Lockett and Metcalf go off at the same time. But if you take a look at their target percentages and their histories, they both equal out to about 26%, 27% of targets on average. If you're watching a video somewhere else, right, and then you came to this one, but you watched another one, and that person claimed to have some knowledge which would tell you which one of Metcalf or Lockett was likely to get more targets in that week, you can know that that person was probably full of shit. There's no pattern here that we can predict with accuracy as far as which of those 2 guys is going to get the targets. Metcalf, Lockett. Why is Lockett priced higher? I don't know. Right? I don't know. I can see Russ in a lot of places next year. If the person's there's no way of knowing, which is why the safer captain play is McLaurin, because I know that McLaurin's going to get a bunch of targets, even if it's from a shitty quarterback. Whereas Lockett and Metcalf, it should be one or the other, but maybe not both. Usually Bobby just knows all. We'll see. We'll see in Bobby's notes. Yeah, we're going to see in Bobby's notes in a minute, or Josh's notes, Bobby's notes. We'll see what they say. But I don't believe that anybody can know which one of Lockett or Metcalf will go off on any given week. You just never fucking know. And it's interesting that Lockett is now more expensive. Don't know why. I bet FanDuel has it reversed. Lockett, less of a touchdown guy maybe than Metcalf. I don't know. But no one can know this. And it's important to be aware that no one can know it. So we look at the ownership projection and we just kind of leverage it. That's the best way to work that. Where was I? All right, matchups. So beyond these 2, there are some turds to discuss, right? And the turdliest and maybe the best of the turds is not on this list, but after Lockett and Metcalf, you have a mix of Freddie Swain, Penny Hart, and D. Eskridge, the rookie. Now, D didn't even make our spinner here, but it's worth noting he got a couple targets a week before. He's had some snaps. 6, let us know in the comments which one you will be playing so that we can play the opposite. Please. And all of you mushes out there that always play the wrong guy, let us know in advance. You always tell me after, oh, you should have played the other guy because I played this one. Tell me before, not after. If you're a mush and you're mushing one of these guys, let me know. I'll play the other one. It's not hard. Just let us know. Hook a brother up. Okay, so D. Eskridge, who's not even showing, he's been getting more and more snaps each week. He's a rookie. He's healthy again. And for $200, I don't mind taking some shots on D. He only needs 1 or 2 receptions. Remember that a $200 player only needs 2-3 receptions in a game to be in the nuts lineup. So especially if we want to play a lot of these studs, we can roll in this turd right here. At tight end for Seattle, it's Gerald Everett, the primary, Will Dissly, the secondary. And, the discrepancy in targets isn't that great on a week-to-week basis. The salary discrepancy might be significant, however. So you could play a little Dissly. Again, 600. So this might be your salary saver of the week. He usually gets a couple targets. Will Dissly, 600, guys. Oh, 6 is now going to cause both Metcalf and Lockett to flop. Thanks a lot. Yeah, F1 is the nuts. There we go. So, but you could play Will Dissly, $600, and he gets targets. He's out there the whole time. Fine by me. Fine by me. 600. We need those cheap guys to afford the studs. So keep that in mind. Dissly, Escaridge. I probably like Dissly more. Now, another note I want to do before I jump over to the cheat sheet is remind you that just about every showdown this season has either required a backup tight end scoring a touchdown or a backup quarterback coming into a game in order to win the million. Do with that information what you will. Backup quarterback, backup, or backup tight end scoring a touchdown. That happens almost every time. So if you're not making sure you're getting exposure to the backup tight ends, you're in trouble. Oh, which reminds me, tight end position for Washington, not covered here. We have the return of Logan Thomas, and Washington is not really a team that rolls more than one tight end. So the return of Logan Thomas means that Logan Thomas will be that guy. Let's take a look at his salary. Logan, he was activated, 4,800. Not great for a guy who's been out for a very long time, but it is what it is. Logan Thomas is going to be, I don't even know who the backup is. If you guys know who the backup tight end to Logan Thomas is, let me know. Maybe it'll be in the cheat sheet. Let's take a look. All right. Cheat sheet prepared by, yeah, here we go. Take that out of there. Cheat sheet prepared by DFSupNORTH himself. Breaking down the games. GPP Master. Yeah, I mean, you are playing some Geno, right? Like everybody knows that you got to play a little Geno tonight. Everyone knows that. I play a little Geno. Got to do it. Couple shares just in case. Bates, backup tight end, Bates. Bates might be a good play too. John Bates. Oh, he's not priced that low. He's actually gotten a couple targets each week. So there you go. John Bates. Keep an eye. We'll keep him in our mind as well. All right. So again, looking at the cheat sheet, DFSupNORTH, the GOAT, and potential captain plays here on DraftKings. Russell Wilson's in the mix. I would make this argument. No, Seals Jones is out, my man. He's done. He's done for the year. Awesome swimmer, man. Keep up. Seals Jones, gone. You got Bates and now Logan Thomas returning. Unless Seals Jones is playing in this game, in which case, what the fuck? No, he's out. Yeah, he's out. He's not playing. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me, awesome swimmer. Okay, so back to it. Russell Wilson, in order for Russell Wilson to be the nuts, guys, he probably has to run for a touchdown. And I just want to explain why. There's two slim paths for Russ to hit the nuts on DraftKings. One of which is he spreads the football around so much that none of Lockett, Metcalf, or Everett or any of the other turds really pop off. They all have good games, but Russ outscores all of them. I don't see it. He'd have to run for a touchdown, in my opinion, which he could do, but he'd have to run for a touchdown to outscore Lockett or Metcalf in a Russ is the nut scenario. That's such a slim path. That combined with our research that shows that QB very rarely is the nuts. I don't remember when it's last happened. QB is very rarely the nuts captain on DraftKings. So what I do is I look at the captain ownership percentage projection for Russell Wilson, 12%, right? And I look at the one for Taylor Heineke, 12%, and I say, you know what? If I just don't do that, if I just fade both of those guys, and it's right, I'm getting a 25% kind of edge on the field. So for me personally, I'm not saying anybody else you should do this. For me, what I've done all season, unless it was like a Josh Allen or a running quarterback, Kyler Murray, somebody like that, or Lamar Jackson, which last night I did not play any Lamar Jackson at captain either. None. And I told you that on the show, and that worked out really well. I only played Mark Andrews. That worked out really well. But I don't play quarterbacks on DraftKings as my captain. So that probably means he'll smoke. He'll smash today. I'm not saying you should do that, not financial advice, but I'm just saying that that's what I do, because if I do that for the entirety of the season, the quarterbacks are just owned way more than they should be. So that is a plus EV sort of approach that I use to attacking showdowns. Not everybody has to do that. Not, you do you, I do me. And that's what I'm saying. Never, nothing that I say here about what I'm just sharing what I do, but I don't always win. I lose a lot more of these than I win. So you got to do what you got to do. So anyway, Russell Wilson, if you're going to play him, it must be with two players on the same team. The only way he's getting there is if he's carrying Everett get a touchdown. Everett gets a touchdown. Disley gets one. DJ Dallas catches one. Like, it's weird, and it's really, but and DK Metcalf gets one, but not two. Like, it would be a weird slim path, but everything is doable in a showdown. It's a slim path to Russ being the top guy, especially when Russ doesn't spread the football around that much. Quarterbacks that do spread the football, like vintage Tom Brady with 3 wide receivers, sometimes that can work. All right. So Terry McLaurin, my favorite, I think, of all of them is Terry McLaurin. It doesn't mean he's going to smash, but Terry McLaurin, at the very least, unlike DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, there's no Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf. There's no second guy on Washington that's the alpha. So if Washington is keeping up in this game, if they're doing anything, it's probably Terry McLaurin doing a lot of the work. It's not for sure, but for that reason, he's my favorite. And he might be the guy I might use in cash games if I played cash. Logan Thomas coming off a long-term injury. I'm not big on players coming off a long-term injury. I'm just not big on it. So no, I mean, not for me. I'd almost rather see like getting silly with like a McKissick or a little bit of Gibson, but Logan Thomas, probably too much. Yeah, I'm way more on McLaurin than McKissick. I think McKissick is like that outside crazy shot, but for McKissick to be smashing, you kind of have to expect that Seattle would come in and absolutely be ahead big, and then have Washington abandon the run and start throwing a ton. But the Vegas odds don't really project for that. Vegas Video, what's up, my brother? Am I sharing too much, guys? All right. All right. So after McLaurin, obviously Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf are both very good plays. And there's no difference to me between Lockett or Metcalf. Lockett has popped off for bigger scores in general. So like Lockett has shown a higher ceiling this season just overall. And throughout his career, like Lockett has those 35, 40-point games on occasion. DK Metcalf really hasn't done that. But DK Metcalf is more of a touchdown scorer. And again, this matchup is so good. Remember that Washington is last against the run. Do I feel like making that rule? So here's the thing. And let me repeat what you just said in case people are just listening. Geek, how do you feel about only playing one of Lockett or in a lineup at captain? So if DK, Lockett, or Lockett are captain, exactly 0 of the other one. And I'm going to say I'm not making that rule because the prime reason I wouldn't make that rule is because showdowns are weird. It doesn't require that Metcalf smash in order to be in the nuts lineup. So Lockett can go off for 40, and Metcalf can kind of disappoint with the 22, but or to kind of disappoint with like a 16, let's say. But that could be the nuts. It's a showdown. It's a showdown. Am I predicting an onslaught? No, I think that the numbers in this game dictate that it's more likely that both teams attack through the air than on the ground in terms of the easiest matchup. But the matchups aren't so hard on the ground. It's not like this is the Bucks or the Saints that, like, I'm not attacking these guys on the ground. You can't run on them. Like, we knew not to play Jonathan Taylor this week. That's why we didn't play Jonathan Taylor, because it was like, why am I going to play the most expensive running back against the best team at stopping running backs from doing their thing? It doesn't make sense, right? This game isn't quite like that. This game, their teams are both a little bit worse against the pass. They're kind of decent against the run, but it's not like either team is shut down. And I have no issue playing Metcalf and Lockett in the same lineup. As a matter of fact, I think I'm not forcing that. It's not something I'm like trying to do, but I'm not going to avoid it, because making too many rules in showdowns like that rules you out of winning them. So I'm not making any kind of rules like that. As a matter of fact, I'll give you a couple sneaky ideas here in a minute, but let's continue to go through the rest of the potential captain plays. So after Lockett, Metcalf, and McLaurin, of course, Heineke's in the mix. Heineke can totally rush for touchdowns and rush for a lot of yardage. So he is a quarterback that I don't mind throwing in the captain spot, because he does enough with his legs that he could get there. But if I'm playing Heineke, I'm definitely at captain, I'm definitely mixing him in with, McLaurin or McKissick or one of those other super turd players on his team that I don't even know their names. Finally, I guess Antonio Gibson, if we think it could be one of those weird weeks where Gibson smashes in for 3 goal line touchdowns and just gets there, you always got to play the running back. So, you want to get a little Gibson in the mix. I don't think Gibson will go very well with Taylor Heineke. Okay. So going down to the flex spots, and we'll go to the turd zone. Going to the turd zone. We already know these players. We like these players. So some turdly players that didn't make the mix at QB or at the, in the MVP spot. Alex Collins, again, I already talked about this on the matchups. Alex Collins is an injury waiting to happen, right? He's a yardage, and he's fine. He's the running back. They're going to run him a bunch, but he is an injury waiting to happen. So be aware of it. But what we do know is that Seattle will try to run the football for as long as they can, especially on the road. They're going to try to, quote, establish the run. They're going to establish the run. Even when it makes more sense to throw more, they establish the run. Even when Russell Wilson's like, I hate this fucking established run shit. I want to leave this team. I'm sick of it. They don't care. Establish the run. Even when the running back himself isn't good, they don't care. Establish the run. Gibson. So if I have Gibson at captain, that's not a Taylor Heineke lineup. Like, if Gibson is scoring, it's probably via the run. It's not via the pass most of the time, and it doesn't necessarily bode very well for Taylor Heineke. That I'm not gonna disallow it, but I'm just saying that, like, if I'm manually putting Gibson in there, I'm not thinking, oh, I need Heineke in this one. I can't even remember. You got to name the turds. I can't remember if we talked about them yesterday. So, all right, continuing down the list. Well, I already talked about DeAndre Cotter. Less cheap than I had hoped. He's not really priced like a turd, but he's become one of Heineke's favorite targets with everyone else injured. Samuel coming back hurts him a little bit. So this won't be a priority play, and I don't expect Samuel to get a ton of looks. DJ Dallas is definitely someone I'm interested in. If I'm playing QBs at captain or MVP on DraftKings, I'm mixing with 2. It doesn't have to be only wide receiver tight end, though, Brandon, because remember that DJ Dallas and also J.D. McKissick are pass-catching running backs, so it works with those guys too. All right, so continuing on through this list, DJ Dallas I really like a lot. Here, yeah, even Josh talks about it. Collins is a starter, but with his history of injuries and Dallas getting the run, getting run either way, and just getting run either way in the passing game, the results really just bode well for a potential DJ Dallas, like in the nuts play. And look how low his ownership is. Very low captain, but also just 10% ownership in the flex. Very, very low. Curtis Samuel, not somebody I'm going to be super excited about. Just hurt all year. I don't like guys who are hurt that much. Logan Thomas coming back, again, off a pretty big injury, not cheap. So be careful playing him a little bit. I won't throw him in the captain at all, even though he's going to be 4% potentially owned. Either defense is playable. Yes. I would probably both defenses are playable. Both teams have questions at quarterback. Both, Russell Wilson just being off and Taylor Heineke just not being very good or accurate, to where both defenses are definitely playable. And will I allow 2 RBs from the same team? Yes. That rule, if you start making a rule, no 2 RBs from the same team, you will rule yourself out of wins frequently. Just don't make the rule. When I'm handcrafting, will I force 2? Yeah, I mean, could you see Antonio Gibson and McKissick in the nuts? Yes. Can I see Dallas and Collins in the nuts? Well, probably a little less so, but it could happen. Double Ds? Sure, love the double Ds. But if you mean double defense, probably not doing that. This is not a thing that happens. Like what you're suggesting here of the team allowing sacks or whatever, that's not a thing that happens. I don't believe in that. So I don't believe in that at all. Okay, so turd zone, right? All these $200 guys are going to be in the game, and this is what opens up our ability. And I'm just going to tell you my favorite turds. So all of these turds are in the game. Jonathan Bates, we talked about him a little bit. Fine. I think he'll probably get more run. I don't love Bates, quite honestly, with Logan Thomas coming back, but whatever. And he's also priced a little too high. Remember, the zones that we look at are where are the tight ends or the kickers. Everything revolves around the kicker in DraftKings. Where's the kicker priced? Because the kicker, you can expect them to get you between 6 to 12 fantasy points. So when I look at the salary, I look below the kicker salary and I say, is this a guy who can do better than what the kicker does? Humphreys, Swain. I mean, Washington also lost their best player on defense a couple weeks ago. So again, be careful of that defense. Adam Humphreys, can he outscore these 2 kickers? Jared Patterson, probably not. Freddie Swain, maybe. He's got 2 games this year of one, he's got a 20-pointer, he's got an 11-pointer. He's got a couple good games this year. Will Dissly getting some targets for 600. D. Eskridge getting some targets for 200. So these are the guys we want to mess with. I think my favorites are going to be Dissly and Eskridge. Dissly, Eskridge. And then these guys, De'Ami Brown, Dax Milne, and, little Freddie Swain, I guess. As far as I know, Humphreys is going to play, but if he's out, we'll find out soon enough. It's 6:30, and we're getting pretty close to inactives time, which is part of why I want to push through this as fast as I can. So real quick, let's build a lineup, and I'm just going to show you like an approach to a lineup construction that I like. I already told you I kind of like McLaurin as one of my favorite captain plays. Play him in there. I'm also going to put Dissly in this one to get a cheapie in here because you need one of these cheapies. I talk too much about Dallas. I don't love this price point for Dallas. I think he's massively overpriced for the role, but YOLO, what are you going to do? Right? And so from here, we could do kind of whatever we want. 94.33. So we want to get Wilson. I'd like to get Heineke. And there you go. You could put J.D. McKissick. I wouldn't mind getting one of Lockett or Metcalf. So I'm going to have to get one of these two. So Lockett, Metcalf. Let's go with Metcalf. And we're left with 3,900. Humphrey, Swain. Ooh. Didn't quite get to where I wanted. Should have practiced this before. It's not working. So we go from Dissly to Eskridge. D. Let's see if that gets us a kicker. Yeah. And then we could choose whichever kicker we want. Boom. If Gibson, I quit till tomorrow. There you go. I think Gibson will be fine, and I think he'll get you 5, 8. It's how many touchdowns does he get? Gibson is just all over the place with his scoring. Triple D. Love it. So there's a little lineup example. It took me going all the way down to Eskridge to afford all this goodness in the lineup with me, right? Heineke with McLaurin. You've got Wilson with Metcalf and Eskridge. And then, of course, the kicker. That's a beautiful, beautiful lineup. So Antoine always got fades. I don't think you fade him. I just, he could score twice. You can do 2 goal line plunges in this game. I'm not fading him. But, he's a better play on FanDuel. So let's talk a little bit of FanDuel real quick. How long are we into this video? 34. Holy shit, I just talk and talk. You guys got to be like, Kevin, shut the fuck up and give us the info. All right, let's talk FanDuel. Now, remember the secret to FanDuel is running backs and quarterbacks outweigh wide receivers, but wide receivers can get there too. So the primary two plays are going to be Wilson and Heineke. They have the most chance of getting there. Heineke at home can run for a touchdown, is cheaper. Look how cheap these quarterbacks are, by the way. You can do a lot on FanDuel this week, so it should be fun. I like both quarterbacks in my lineups. That's how I'm going to approach this week, and we can get a lot of cheap goodness out of this whole setup. So Wilson and Heineke, the clear top dogs. If I'm playing Wilson, I'm making sure that I have one of really, I don't even need to mix them all up. I could just make sure I get one of Lockett or Metcalf in that lineup with him. If I wanted to do Wilson plus, yeah, you guys, yeah, solo Geek, man, no one's around. It's Thanksgiving week. I'm rolling solo. So if I'm using Wilson, I do want to stack him with like 2 pass catchers, but the second one could even be DJ Dallas. It could be, the tight end. It could be anything like that. With Heineke, I don't need him with 2. I just need to stack him with 1, and the 1 is pretty much Terry McLaurin, but I would include Logan Thomas or whatever. Don't actually do it in a say it in a funny way. Say it in like a cute, funny way. You know what I mean? Say it in a nice way. As long as you don't say, Kevin, thanks for your stupid advice, you suck, then I'm banning you. All right. Other potential FanDuel MVPs. So McLaurin, he's such an alpha that you could play him. DK Metcalf, touchdown score. I don't have any problem with any of these guys, but the rule is going to be if I'm playing McLaurin, he's with Heineke. If I'm playing Metcalf, he's with Russ. And if I'm playing Lockett, he's with Russ. So I'm making a rule when I have any of these guys at the helm that their quarterback is in there. Logan was taken off IR, and we expect him to play. Inactives haven't come out yet. Yeah, Washington better against the run, and that means they allow a little bit of action to pass catching running backs. Again, points again to DJ Dallas, but don't worry about those matchups that much. They're not really that true. And Antonio Gibson can get there. Like I said, Antonio Gibson gets there by pulling a Leonard Fournette from last night and just getting in the game on the goal line. Shit just got in the right spot. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Gets the third one. $1 million Antonio Gibson. Nuts play. Gibson can get there. Gibson can get there. Okay, so again, this is FanDuel, and on FanDuel, touchdowns are king. So backup tight ends have been the shiznit for pretty much every FanDuel showdown. We've been going above the market on backup tight ends. Every single one of these. So just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. All right, so now as you're looking through the names here, we're going through the basic names. We like them all. Heineke, McLaurin, the standard names. Some extras here. So you've got Logan Thomas coming back, 10-5. Perfectly good play. They definitely like to throw to the tight end. We don't know how many snaps he'll get. DeAndre Carter, touchdowns the last few weeks, 10K, reasonable price. McKissick can always do it as well. And again, I already talked about DJ Dallas quite a bit. And here's where it gets turdly. Adam Humphries, he needs to score a touchdown. Curtis Samuel, 8K, needs to score a touchdown. I don't love those. I'd rather go with a Gerald Everett at 7,500. Backup tight ends, guys. Back up tight ends. I'd rather have Everett. He's more likely to score a touchdown significantly than these two turd burgers, right? So Jared Everett, sure, why not? Jared Patterson, the only way he's really, it would have to be a crazy mistake, a 2-3%er. This is a turd. Hold on. IBM Watson. Wait. I'll ask Bobbywow. What do you think of Jared Patterson for 7K? Hell no. There it is. Moneybags has spoken. By the way, I get the info from Bobbywow. Even if he's not home, he's a camp, family things, behind the scenes, he's feeding me the plays. To feed out to you guys. Making our way down to the bottom of the turd fest here on FanDuel. I think Jonathan Bates, the Bates Motel. Will Dissly, again, backup tight end, and Freddie Swain. Those are the three that I'm going to be looking to mix in, roll into the mix. Swain, Dissly, Bates, then maybe a little bit of Eskridge. I want touchdown scores, and those are the guys that are likely or have that higher likelihood of scoring touchdowns. So let's make a quick FanDuel lineup to show you what we mean. And again, on FanDuel, we just play the quarterback up top. I got to play both quarterbacks, but look how cheap they are, 15-5, 14-5. We can really afford them. I kind of want to just do something like this on FanDuel, but you can't play all of them. I kind of want to do that, but so let's say I play Russ. So I'm probably going to have to favor, let's say I have to favor Lockett over Heineke. Over McLaurin. That leaves us 87.50. I already told you. I want to get to someone like Gerald Everett, and we got 10K left. You could play Carter, you could play DJ Dallas, or a kicker. Quarterbacks, one wide receiver. I can also switch this up for a DK Metcalf. Notice, like I said, DK Metcalf more expensive on DraftKings and FanDuel. I probably prefer DK Metcalf in fairness, but you make one like this, and then I might make a second one where I kind of go with DK Metcalf, and then maybe a kicker, right? Probably a kicker from the home team, something like that. And then we might switch it up again and go, all right, what about if Heineke was the captain? In the Heineke captain, we got to play Terry McLaurin, right? So then it's either you could put Russ in that one. And again, we're down to 8K. And you could put in even a cheaper guy like Bates or Dissly and a kicker or a DJ Dallas, something like that. Kind of like these. I kind of want to play these. Liking them. So that's my basic approach. So essentially on FanDuel, if I'm starting with Heineke, I'm forcing in McLaurin and maybe a second player from Washington that catches passes. And if I start with Russ, I'm forcing in one of the two of Metcalf or Lockett, and then maybe even a second kind of like turd tight end from Seattle. Very simple. Very simple approach. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for the Showdown Breakdown. Where My Turds At special. Monday Night Football. Remember, Black Friday still going for a few more hours. So get signed up now at DFS Army. Use that code. It's fucking awesome. Would I make a rule for No, don't rule yourself out of wins. Do not make that rule. 2 tight ends, same team. It could work. I don't think you'll ever get 2 tight ends from the same team on FanDuel the way that the salaries work. It won't pair them, but don't make those rules. It could still work. Don't make any kind of rules like that. The only rule I'm making is making sure that Russ is with at least one pass catcher, that Heineke is with at least one pass catcher. That's and no two. I don't play 2 defenses together. I don't play 2 kickers together. Those are just things that I do. So this is it, guys. Remember, sign up DFS Army's VIP. Don't forget to like the video. Like it. You're here now. Like the video. Hit the subscribe button. You could do it. I'll wait. Fold my arm. I can wait. Hit the like button. Do it. Do it. Subscribe. Do it. I can wait. Just kidding. All right. Do your thing. Black Friday. Sign up a VIP at DFS Army. And good luck tonight, everybody. I will see you all next time. Deuces.